Sure. All right, Emilio, let's jump into the PTA power rankings. Again, this is your Excelio creation over here. I'm going to get you to do a couple more of these too. I want to do quarterback rankings and stuff eventually. We'll get to it. But
Nice.
so we got our new PTA power rankings. And if you guys are wondering what this is, everybody does their power rankings and they never give you the formula, right? Amelia, I'm probably wrong, but when I hear so and so, I'm trying to think of just a random Tom Brady. Tom Brady's power rankings. I imagine he just sits down with a list and goes, I think that team's better than that team, and that team's better than that team. I like to have a little substance to it where you come in going, okay, this is why I've got this team ranked higher than the others, right? So essentially, here's what we've got with our power rankings. If you're new here, this is how I come up with my power rankings, all right? We go win percentage. The record should matter, in my opinion. We go offensive scoring, points per play, defensive scoring, points per play allowed, offensive yards per play allowed or yards per play, defensive yards per play allowed, and then turnover margin. I feel like those are the most important aspects to give you a good idea of how good a team is. And one of the reasons I like the winning percentage there too is because anytime you have worse rankings to the right of the winning percentage and the winning percentage is kind of high, it tells you that team's probably got a good coaching staff. They're probably coaching above what the team is actually performing. And I think that's a good indicator. It's almost like I look at that win percentage when it's in stark contrast to the other cells here, Emilio. I kind of look at it like, okay, that's an indicator, pretty damn good football coach. Like, let me give you an example right off the bat. We got Denver here in the number 7 spot, right? So they've got they're tied for the best winning percentage in the league. But look at, they're 16th in scoring on offense, right? They're 15th in yardage, yards per play on offense, and they're 21st in turnover margin, but somehow they get the best record. Probably making some great game day decisions in terms of the coach. Does that make sense?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, because look at what kind of performance you're getting out of there. Same thing. You kind of look at the Bears with it. You're getting a lot out of that team with how Ben's able to coach it with their winning percentage there. But the rest of the numbers, man, brutal. How are you getting to that? Are you getting to that green box with all these other ones being orange and red?
Yeah, definitely. Let's hit this super chat real quick. We'll get back to the power rankings. Dennis Shook with the super. Thank you, buddy. He says, has Rashawn Gary ever been a quick win rate guy in previous seasons? Andy Herman keeps mentioning that his quick win rate is basically the worst in the league. I don't ever remember him being a quick shed guy. To me, he's a power rusher. When I think, and again, this is just me kind of answering the question on the fly, and I'll get your take, Emilio. I've never looked at Gary like, okay, it's going to be a quick beat and he's to the quarterback. To me, it's more of a bull rush, playing with power, and a really good run defender. How do you see that?
Yeah, same way. Yeah, I mean, because you see the way he can engage one of those sleds, the way he has to drive, the forward lean. He's never been one of those, let me get sideways like a dude. Those guys on the bikes, Clay, that are just ripping around those corners and 100 miles an hour, touch the knee to the side. That's not happening. He's a big physical guy. He's strong. It's you were never really complaining about Preston, right? But Preston was kind of that long, lengthy guy, and that gets vertical and gets depth with the pocket that way. I'm not expecting Rashawn to ever be a quick win rate guy. One of those power rusher archetypes. And I think he's true to that for sure.
Definitely. And he's never been a top tier pass rusher, in my opinion. I've never looked at him like a Myles Garrett, a TJ Watt, players like that, although he's outperformed them many years of his career, believe it or not, last year being one, which was wild to think about how people were so upset with Rashawn Gary. But I remember when we kept checking the numbers throughout the year, better run stop rate and a better at a certain point he had a better pass rush rate in terms of quarterback pressures according to NFL Pros. So Bates here points out Micah Parsons 4.39, Rashawn Gary 4.58 for reference. There you go, man. There you go. And that's the difference between a thick stack backer going up against a cornerback, right, Emilio?
Yep, absolutely. And then to that point, Bates has Caleb of his 40 time of 4.56, Nick's of a 40 time of 4.17. So, you would need Caleb being at that 4.5, Parsons 3.43 takes care of it. Bo's 4.7, Rashawn's 5.8 takes care of it. So you still have the speed up with both of them. But again, it's just who are you going against? What do you need? I think Rashawn's perfect for what you can't have 4 or 5 Micahs on the team. I mean, theoretically, yeah, but like you're not looking for 4 or 5 speed rushers to only come off the edge only on third down, right? It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that info, Bates. Appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat, Dennis. You're the man. All right, back to the power ratings or power rankings. Let's just go through and hit them real quick. So obviously the ranking is in this column here over to the far left. So we've got the LA Rams 1, Seattle Seahawks 2, Green Bay has now climbed to 3, Indianapolis Colts still in the 4 spot, Detroit Lions 5, New England Patriots 6, Denver Broncos 7th, Jacksonville Jaguars 8th, Houston Texans 9th, and the Philadelphia Eagles 10th. Then you've got Buffalo, Pittsburgh, the LA Chargers, the Chicago Bears, the Kansas City Chiefs, the San Francisco 49ers, and then the Baltimore Ravens, Miami Dolphins, and then we'll round out the top 20 with the Atlanta Falcons. So when you look at this and how it lays out, again, low number wins on the far right. We're taking an average of all the other rankings here. Green Bay is currently 3rd on the power rankings because they're 5th in winning percentage across the league. Again, I know we wanted to fire Matt LaFleur. He's got the 5th best winning percentage in the entire league right now out of 32 teams, which is wild to think about. Offensive scoring, points per play, the Packers are now 9th. Defensive scoring, points per play allowed, they are 5th. Offensive yardage, yards per play, they're 8th. And then defense, yards per play allowed, they are 5th. And don't look now, Emilio, but the turnover margin, they've climbed all the way up to 8th now. So we're officially a top 10 team in turnover margin. That gives them a score of 6.7. The only teams they trail are two other NFC teams, with the LA Rams at number 1 and the Seattle Seahawks at number 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can kind of see where Seattle there is on the cusp. If they have, a few more turnovers their way, they're in good shape. If they have a few less or they turn it over a couple more times, you see that's where they're going to be their Achilles heel. But they're being super efficient. I think we're kind of sitting perfect where we're at right now. Top 10 closing in on top 5. Your top 5 on some things. You have a lot of things going well for you, but you're not humming completely 100%, which is perfect because you need to be getting better. I'd say we're 75, 80. We're looking great. We're having some mistakes here and there. But you just want to be able to keep building and adding to that. Right now, it's one of the highest we've been, right? 3rd or 2nd, the highest we've been this year for anyone. Obviously, PTA's rankings, but everybody else out there, I don't think we've hit that number 1 spot. I think you can kind of prove it when you go out here against an AFC opponent that's leading their division as well.
As Clint says here in the chat, looks like a dogfight. It really does. As we start to look at the Denver Broncos, here's what we got, guys. They are 1st in winning percentage, 16th in scoring, points per play, 4th in defensive scoring and points per play allowed. All right. They're 15th in yards per play and then on offense, and then on defense, they're 1st in the league in yards per play allowed. So what you've got here is a legit top 5, I would say a top 3 defense, arguably the best defense in the league, because when you're 1st in yards per play allowed, their teams cannot move the ball on you, and you're still 4th in scoring. That tells me that the red zone defense is probably holding up pretty good too. So the weak spot of Denver here is their offense. They're 16th in scoring. They're 15th in yards per play, and then turnover margin, much like you said with Seattle, they're 21st. Well, what that tells you, seeing that they've got the best winning percentage, like we already said, Denver they're being coached really, really well right now.
Yep.
You're talking about game management, everything across the board. Sean Payton's doing a hell of a job with the Denver Broncos. So when you go up against a team, Emilio, I typically look at this, and we're going to do a little mini preview of the Packers Broncos in a second, but I typically look at a multitude of things. I start head coach versus head coach. I got to give the edge to Sean Payton because Sean Payton's won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay. That matters more to me than the winning percentage personally, and from an overall perspective. Now, Sean Payton is significantly lower than Matt LaFleur in career winning percentage, but he's also coached in a lot more games, I would imagine. So I'd give the slight edge to Sean Payton as they sit right now. Quarterback matchup, Jordan Love versus Bo Nix, definitely going to Jordan Love.
Yep.
Pass rushers, it's tough, man. Micah's arguably the best pass rusher in the game, but Nick Bonito's got 12.5 sacks too. They're getting after the quarterback. So kind of feel like that might be a push right there. And when you go to the interior of the defensive line, probably going to have to give Denver the edge there. But what do you think in terms of these two matching up here? Once you see Denver's numbers again, first in scoring, 16th. I'm sorry, first in win percentage, 16th in scoring, fourth in scoring defense, 15th in yardage on offense, and then first in yards allowed on defense, and wrapping up 21st turnover margin.
Yeah, their 2 losses were by a total of 4 points. 1 point was to the Colts, and then 3 points was to the Chargers. And in those 2 games, the only thing that really hindered them was the Colts lost. Their coverage was a 39-7, and the Chargers lost. Their coverage was a 52-6. I think that's the only way you're going to try to crack them. They had a 57 run defense in the Chargers game as well. But, you look at it, say, okay, their defense really is that elite. No matter what, with those 2 games, their defense really is that good. Their coverage is good. If you can beat them and have this offense try to chase you down, being at that 16 and 15 points per play and yards per play, the offense isn't able to kind of keep up with that. I think that's where you might be able to run them down in a shootout a little bit easier than if you're trying to just, knock out, drag them out sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Soder in the chat. Denver is tied with the 1985 Bears in sacks through 13 games. This defense is legit. They are legit. So love to see that. And listen, some people get nervous with these games. They're like, "Oh God, we got a tough opponent." I love it. Like, let's go out there and crack skulls. Let's see what our team's got. Let's see how they stack up against arguably the best team in the league. Let's go see.
Because one, it's still the regular season. If a loss happens, it's fine. It's an AFC team. You get to learn and build off of it. You get tape. You get experience. All right, what do we need to know going into that's a playoff caliber team? All these things line up that you can build on coming into these final weeks.
Yeah. And as Robert says here in the chat, yep, praying on our O-line to be on their A team.
Did you listen to Ryan's pod today?
I did not. What did Ryan?
Oh man, he was going on the O-line, man. He was letting him, but I like how he worked the numbers and pulled everything up. He's basically saying this is like one of the worst offensive lines we've kind of had in like PT or PFF era. So yeah, I think you're completely on that, Roberto. We got to get this. So with that wall needs to be built back up. We got some foundation issues on the O-line there.
Yeah, I think so too, man. Let's hit this super chat real quick, and then we're going to get to a Chicago question. Howling in the chat says, "I'm telling you, the return of Rivers has all of the AFC shaking in their boots. Packers by 20+." So he is saying here, I love this propaganda right here, baby. He is saying, Howling Whataburger is saying that Phillip Rivers signing and showing up to practice today in Indianapolis is going to have a cross effect on the Denver Broncos, and they're going to be so focused and worried on that. The Packers are going to come in and boat race the Broncos by 20 points. I like
that. I like that.
Yeah. What do you think about Phillip Rivers coming back, man, before we move on to the next segment?
Dude, I think it's pretty awesome. When I was playing Madden, let's kick it to Darren Sproles and Antonio Gates, and he can spin it. Phillip Rivers can, man. But I think it was Tim talking about or was it you? Maybe the mic'd up when he goes off on some of those. The dude's just a gamer. I think he just loves playing the game. If he sees Rodgers out there still doing it and he's out there, well, why not, man? Right? You take a couple licks. I think DJ and Buck were talking. It's either going to go really great and he's going to make a run and it's going to be magical, or it's not going to go really great and it's going to look rough out there. You're going to take a couple licks and maybe say, yeah, I'm done. But I'm excited for it, man.
Nothing in between. No,
it
won't be he did okay. It'll be, damn, Phillip still got it, or it'll be, is he out of the hospital yet? Like,
exactly. You got Joe and Roger still doing it right now. But I think it's also, you look at those guys, bigger, taller. You're not expecting Drew Brees to come back and spin it one more time, right? You have to kind of have that body type, that physique, that build, and then the knowledge on top of it. You can beat a defense with quick passes and a heady quarterback, but you got to get yourself into that position to do it.
Got to get the ball out of your hand. Can't take hits, right? And that's what I was going to say about this whole pass rush everybody talking about. Thank you for that super chat, Howling. We appreciate you. is Jordan Love just needs to get the ball out of his hand, keep getting it out of his hand, right?
Yeah, yep.
That's the big thing. And I'm excited to kind of dive into some of the coverage. I don't have any of the updated coverage rankings. I need to go grab those. But I could probably look. We'll get into that. Remind me, Emilio, before we wrap up the mini preview, I definitely want to look at their pass defense, yards per play allowed, or passing yards allowed per play. We'll definitely dive into that. One question here, and then we'll move on. Willie, oh, my God.
I was laughing at that one earlier, but you had a good one-liner in the earlier one.
I just now read the name.
Willie CC.
This is Willie CC. I want to read it so bad. It's just one of those names. And there's nothing that brings me more joy than these people that have live YouTube streams and they read off a random name and they realize, oh, no, that's one of those, and they get caught. So this is Mr. Clapper Cheeks, Willie Clapper Cheeks. So, all right, he says, God, this show sucks. He didn't say that. I said that. Chicago is chalking up their game against the Browns as an automatic, but as we know, you can't do that. I'd love for Cleveland to knock them down. How cool would that be, man? And let's just take a quick look here while Mr. Clapper Cheeks is on the screen.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
All right, Chicago we have in the number 14 spot in the power rankings. They're 6th in winning percentage, 13th in scoring on offense, 28th in scoring defense, 11th in yardage on offense, 30th in yards per play allowed on defense, and they're still number 1 in turnover margin, okay? Cleveland, however, got to go way down here toward the bottom. They're 24th in winning percentage, 29th in scoring on offense, 20th in scoring defense. Offensive yards per play, they're 31st. So they're cheeks at moving the ball, right? And then yards per play allowed on defense, they're 3rd, okay? Mm-hmm. So their scoring defense is showing 20th, and you thought it was a good defense. It is. But again, they're giving up a lot of points because their offense sucks so bad, right?
Right.
So that's why I like to include both of those numbers right there because it gives you a little bit better understanding. It's hard to move the football in the Cleveland defense. Their offense is giving the ball away. I mean, you see turnover margin, they're 16th. Now, we'd have to go look at their defensive turnovers, obviously, to see how often they're taking the ball away. Mm-hmm. Chicago should win this game pretty darn easily, Emilio.
Unless Shador has a game, Clayton. Unless Shador takes off, man, throws for another 300.
That's a fair point, right? Because he's just that was his first game starting, right?
That was his first start, right? Yeah, and they probably should have won it, but he took him out on the 2-point play, and then Judkins didn't toss it on the reverse. So honestly, he probably should have had a W there. But I'm excited for him to spin it again. It's not the Cleveland Browns we played. It's not Joe Flacco, Cleveland Browns. It's going to be different, right? They're going to have a little bit more speed on offense, maybe a little bit more mobility. You got an extender built, like Caleb and Shador, just not as fast. So it's going to be a different game.
What I'm showing here, too, is the Bears are 7.5-point favorites at home. The forecast is 6 degrees, and they said the wind chill is supposed to be -20. So
wow.
Anything can happen in a game like that. So
I love that.
It's going to be a lot of fun there, Mr. Clapper. We'll keep a close eye on that for sure. So that's the PTA power rankings. If you guys are watching this video back later, let us know in the comments. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with when it comes to these power rankings that we've thrown together? You know the formula now, right? So judge it accordingly. Green Bay, we've gotten a number 3 spot. Denver, we got in a number 7 spot. So it's a battle of 2 top 10 teams. Some would say Denver's the best team in the league. It's hard for me to argue with that. We've got Green Bay a little bit higher because their offense, they're just more consistent across the board in every phase of the game, as opposed to just dominating on defense and kind of being middle of the pack on offense. But we want to hear from you guys. Make sure you comment, hit like, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you're notified when we go live in the future. Another thing, too, if you don't have a comment, just hit us with the Go Pack Go. What you got, Emilio?
Take that too. And if you want to see this in person, I'm going to go ahead and add it to the Patreon once we get off here so that anybody that has access to Patreon will as well have access to the rankings. I think the last time we updated it was week 12. So just want to get you an updated one in there, and then you can kind of compare and contrast as well.
Yeah, so you guys will have access to this along with other chats and everything in the Patreon group, patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. And we're also going to be doing a giveaway tonight where everybody who's a member on Patreon is actually going to be on the wheel that we're going to spin too. So it's just another perk to supporting the channel. All right.